So how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. How about yourself?
I'm good. Good. Thank you. First question I have is, who are you?
My name's T. I'm the owner, designer, creative director of Willing Now Able. And it's a brand that I started back in 2020. But this year's things are going to be very exciting for the brand. I'm excited for this year.
All right. We're going to definitely have to touch on that at the end. Circle back to that one. First, what is Willing Now Able?
Willing Now Able is a brand that it really embodies the people who really are passionate about something, and they won't stop until they get that result. So you have to be willing to take risk in order to be able to be who you want to be and reach the goals that you want to reach. And so yeah, Willing Now Able, WNA, those are all the same thing, and they all embody that same meaning.
Mm-hmm. And is that like now when you say it or when we talk about it, it kind of sounds like spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Is it any like spiritual like undertones to that? Willing Now Able?
Yes. Yep. So I am a Christian man, but the brand isn't necessarily a Christian brand, but I do like to throw my my religious beliefs into some of my designs. So it's the same thing, when it comes to Christianity. If you are very intentional as far as what you believe in, you won't go out of that. You will strictly abide by what you believe in, and you will get the result as far as the person that you love to see when you look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what that's about, and just following the word.
I like that. It's backed by something.
Yeah.
Nothing stronger than
Yep.
like that force you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I first made the brand, I literally came up with the name before I even started designing clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just in my dorm. I was going to Ferris State University at the time, and I was like, why am I here? Like, I knew that I was going there. I knew that I wanted to be a business owner, but I didn't know what path I wanted to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started coming up with names for a company, and I knew that it had to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came up with that name, I just put it in my notes and I left it alone. And then once I started designing clothes, went right back there. I was like, that's what you're rolling with.
Right.
Yeah.
And I asked, what were you studying at, like Ferris?
Marketing.
Okay,
Like
so that's still like that's still in the
it's in
like
the business
yeah,
field,
it's in the
but
business.
yeah, it's just wrong school, wrong thing type thing. But I enjoyed the experience, and I did what I had to.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of answered it a little bit, but where exactly did the idea come from? I know you kind of touched on it there. Was it just like popped in your head,
or
was
was
it
it
like
being a designer?
Willing Now Able, and then like I guess and the designer too, like the designs that you have for like the brand and kind of like the whole like ethos. Was that like backed by like experiences that you had in your like especially like the college time? I know that's like a formative time.
Yep, absolutely. I've been through a fair amount, as far as just life things, losing certain family members, and just knowing like throughout everything that I've been through, I always managed to push forward because I know that life doesn't stop, and definitely not for any one person. So if I want to get from out of a dark space or any of that, I have to do something, and the intent has to be there. So it seemed very easy. I'm honestly surprised that no one else had thought of it before. Mm-hmm. Because it's literally like, it's so easy. It's like an alley-oop, Willing Now Able, so I'm like, I looked it up and I see, nobody jumped on this shit. That's mine. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Let's, so what are like some lessons learned or some challenges that you face like since making the brand and, making it happen?
Yeah. So I would say marketing it is a very difficult thing as far as the social media game, and being consistent with your uploads, and just figuring out like SEO and things of that nature. And that's really what makes or break the brand, because you can have something very nice. I had someone, they refer to these things as a nothing burger. It's like, if you have some good stuff, right, it looks good, but you're not marketing to who it needs to be seen by. So evidently you're wasting your time, So I think that that's one of the biggest challenges that I've faced thus far. And still, getting over that bridge, but we doing it though. I'm telling you.
That's That's a fact for sure. And Nothing Burger is also like a good way to put it. It's like if like the idea just stays on like the notepad, like you were saying, like, you know, you had the idea, you just write it down. If it just stays there, then it's,
you know how many people got good ideas, but they
something.
don't actually do anything with it, and someone else doesn't. Like, man, you stole my idea.
Yeah.
You ain't do nothing with it, you know, or you didn't go about it the right way. So it's like, if you want it to happen, you will make it happen, or sometimes it's just not your time.
Yeah.
And I say these last couple of years just wasn't Willing Now Able's time, but
now it is.
it's on.
Yeah. Like that. So can you talk about like what it's been like for you running a brand, running it as like a business, marketing it? And I said that like those are some of the challenges. Like how has that been? What have you done to like overcome some of them?
So I started to be more intentional as far as like, no matter whether it is, I'm going to create content. And I actually been a little lax in these last couple of weeks, so I definitely got to get back on it. But doing that and actually popping out and meeting and being around other creators more. It's like, I know so many people, but it's like I barely, you know, get out as much as I like to. And that, you know, previous years, just personal life, just working super hard outside of the business, but that's not what I'm, you know, in it for the long haul. I want my brand to be the source of my life, you know? So, that's what is more important. So getting out to these events and mixing in with these creators, that makes your rank go way up, you know, as far as like, not even just to, you know, utilize other people, but just being immersed into the community. Because you can't say that you're a part of a community that you're not popping out to these events, you're not shaking hands, you know, and getting your name out there, because a lot of people can see it, but once they actually meet you, that could make it a whole nother, you know.
Right. But I like that, like a lot of like this conversation has been centered around like the business side of it. Like even what you're talking about now, it's just like networking, the marketing. So I like that. I feel like sometimes it is like doing something creative, like whatever the product that you're selling is creative. It's not like, you know, you're putting your design behind it, you know, you're not selling like sheets of paper, right? Sometimes like the business side gets lost in like the love for like the art. So yeah, I think that that's like really important that you're touching on now. How would you describe your designs for Willing Now Able?
Unique, thought out, and timeless. Really.
Yeah, I see a lot of like when you blend in like God or angels or even like kind of like images that of us, of Black people who are like, but in a way, in like a position of strength. It brings a lot of like conviction to the work, I guess. So is any of that like intentional? Like, because you talked about like Willing Now Able, like kind of having to feel that deep inside, like spiritually. And then I kind of get that same vibe when I look at kind of like all of the designs together, like this conviction of strength and, you know, just like the power within yourself, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I know if you're a believer in God, you know that God is in all of us. And I feel as though we are very, very special. It's just in the forms of how we create. Even, you know, some of us who our minds are in the right place, we still have power that is unmatched, you know. And the things that I've witnessed my fellow brothers and sisters create, it shows. And honestly, it really doesn't matter what race you are, but I've seen in Detroit, I know a lot of Black other creators that they do their thing and it's so effortless, and it's amazing to see. But ultimately, why I put, you know, the Black characters in my art is because if you read the Bible, it says the image of God. Skin is the tone of copper, hair is like wool. Who was that? Right. You know, so it goes off what makes sense. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter what the race of, you know, the characters are. That's just who I, you know, decide to, just because it hits home a little bit more, you know. And I love to stay tapped in with my roots.
So the brand is personal, and like that's kind of reflected in the designs like that. Some of those 2025 plans that you talked about earlier, what are those, or you want to like tease anything?
Yeah. So collaborations, and not even like, oh, this brand and that brand, but more so who I'm collaborating with. Got some heavy hitters, and the content. The content is on a whole nother level, like all high production, nothing that you could just think of on a whim. Even though some of the ideas I come up with, like say the video that you see me do with my brother Israel at the wrestle, that was literally like I thought of that like the day before, but more thought out plans that you will be able to show or see within the videos or whatever that I'm doing, that is like, oh, that's hard. You know, like it's a lot going on here, and I can tell that whoever thought of this, they were patient and very, very tactful. You know,
yeah. Collabs that kind of goes back to like networking that we were talking about before.
Yep.
Not looking for you to like tease any collabs or like say what the collab is, but how has like the collaboration process been? I don't know if you mean you're like collabing on like with other like brands to, you know, like drop a product, or just in the way that you're talking about like working with Israel to make the video. But like, how has that like process been?
It's amazing. I ain't gonna lie, it's always amazing because it's always genuine. Like whoever I collab with, we are friends, you know. Whether it was, even though if that is my first time meeting you, but we most likely have communicated before in some way, you know. And it's really just about energy, you know. Like if we even know a person of, you know, the same friend group or whatever, but we actually have had a conversation, I'm like, yeah, I vibe with that person. We can make it happen. Yeah. You know, like I'm not it's like I'm not picky, but I'm also not just working with anyone. So if I work with them, I really mess with them.
This is like a period of like kind of like coming out. Yeah. You know, branching out, working with other people, but also showing people what you've worked on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then you never know what someone new could bring to the table, you know? Yeah. So you can't be afraid to, especially if you're going to call yourself an entrepreneur, you have to get uncomfortable. And that's the biggest thing about Willing Our Way to get uncomfortable. Comfortability is for people who want a stagnant life. I want to go up, you know? I want to win, bro. Like I want everything that I had imagined for my life and for my family and for my friends and just for anybody that I can help, you know? So it has to happen.
Yeah. You don't know what you're able to do unless you step out. So
exactly.
100%. Anything like you want to say to wrap it up before we close out?
A new job just came out. I want to say that was that was on Valentine's Day. But new job just came out. Commercial coming sooner than later. And I'm excited for y'all to see what Willing Our Way has to come in the store. And I hope y'all rock with me. Go check me out, and I'll be around.
All right. Perfect. Appreciate you, too.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
See you.